The Kahoot problems. We're going to practice for substitution. You can isolate x or y. I'll isolate y by subtracting x from both sides. So we'll have y equals negative x plus 9. You're going to take negative x plus 9 and substitute it in the y spot in the other equation. Don't forget to use parentheses when we do substitution. So we're going to have top equation negative 3x plus 7. We'll substitute negative x plus 9, and that equals negative 7. We'll now distribute the 7 to the negative x and the 9. So we'd have right there negative 7x plus 63. We have negative 3x here. So we're going to combine like terms. So right in here we have negative 3x and negative 7x. So we have negative 10x plus 63 equals negative 7. We can subtract negative 63 from both sides. So we'll have negative 10x is equal to negative 70. We can divide both sides by negative 10. So x equals 7. So we've found the x coordinate of the solution, the point where these lines would cross. So we know x value 7. Now we're going to plug 7 into either equation. I'll plug it into the x plus y equation. So we can substitute the number 7 in the x spot. So we'll have 7 plus y equals 9. We'll subtract 7 from both sides, and we get y equals 2. So the y coordinate of this ordered pair is 2. So this one solution, the lines cross at 7, 2. Let's look at number 6. So for number 6, we pick a variable to isolate. I'll isolate y by subtracting 3x from both sides. So we will have y equals negative 3x and 16. We will then substitute negative 3x plus 16 into the y spot in the other equation. So we would have negative x minus 3. We're going to substitute the quantity negative 3x plus 16, and that equals negative 16. We're now going to distribute negative 3 times negative 3x is positive 9x. Negative 3 times 16 will get us negative 48. We have that negative x here. So we'll combine like terms. Negative x, remember there's a 1 there, negative x and 9x is 8x minus 48 is equal to negative 16. And now we'll add 48 to both sides. So positive 48 minus 16 will get 32. And then we're going to divide both sides by 8. So our x coordinate is 4. We know there's going to be one solution. We just found the x coordinate, and we know the x coordinate is 4. Now we can go back to either equation to find y. So I'm going to plug 4 into the bottom equation. It doesn't matter. So I have 3 times 4 plus y equals 16. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 plus y equals 16. We can subtract 12 from both sides. So we would have y equals 4. So the y coordinate is also 4. So the solution is 4, 4. There's one solution. Let's look at the next one. So for the next one, we have 4x plus 7y equals 8, and the bottom we have x plus 4y equals 11. We can either do substitution, but I'm going to practice elimination. So I can multiply the bottom by 4, right? So if we distribute that, we would get 4x plus 16y equals 44. Then we have the top row was 4x plus 7y is equal to 8. You can ask yourself, in order to eliminate your x's, do I add or subtract? I would need to subtract. I have two options. I can subtract, but then I have to subtract all columns. So I get 4x minus 4x is 0. 16 minus 7, we would get 9. Y. And 44 minus 8, we'll get 36. When we divide 36 by 9, we'll get 4. Now you can do elimination, or we could try doing substitution. To find the y coordinate. So if I substituted, I could isolate the bottom x. So we would have 4x equals negative, I'm going to do the bottom one. It's a little easier. So for the bottom one, if it says x plus 4y equals 11, we can subtract 4y from both sides. And notice I want to isolate the variable that has a coefficient of 1. And I would have x equals negative 4y and 11. And then I could substitute that in the x spot in the other equation. So we'd write 4 times, insert negative 4y plus 11 plus 7y equals 8. We would then distribute and get negative 16y plus 44 plus 7y equals 8. So then we would say negative 16 plus 7 would get us negative 9. So negative 9y plus 44 equals 8. Then we subtract 44 from both sides, and we would get negative 9y equals negative 36. And then when we divide both sides by by negative 9, we'll get y equals positive 4. Notice whether you do it by elimination or by substitution, you will still get a y value of 4. And it should work. Graphing, substitution, elimination, you're still going to get the same answer, right? So then you would go back to either original equations, and if we know y is 4, we would have x equals, we have x plus, if I go to the bottom one, 4 times 4 for the y slot equals 11. So then we'd have x plus 16 equals 11. If we subtract 16 from both sides, we'd have x equals negative 5. So if the y value is 4 and the x value is negative 5, we know there would be one solution. These lines cross at negative 5, 4, x, y. Let's practice doing substitution and elimination. So this one looks set up easy to do substitution, right? Y is already isolated, so I can go to the bottom y and insert negative 2x minus 9. So let's do that. Negative x minus 5, we're going to substitute negative 2x minus 9 and set that equal to 18. So I'm going to distribute here. So I have negative 5 times negative 2 is positive 10x. Negative 5 times negative 9 is positive 45. We have a negative x here. So then we have negative 1x and 10x is positive 9x plus 45 is equal to 18. Next step, we're going to subtract 45 from both sides, and we'll get 9x is equal to negative 27, and then we can divide both sides by 9, and we'll get x is negative 3. Then we can go back to either equation to find y. So I'm going to go to the top, it looks easier. Y equals negative 2 times negative 3 minus 9. So y equals 6 minus 9, so y equals negative 3. One solution, the lines cross at negative 3, comma, negative 3. Let's go back up here for 1 sec. So if we wanted to, so first of all, we did number 5 by elimination and substitution. You can do all of these problems using elimination or substitution. Let's go back to the first one we did. Go back up. Moving slowly. Okay, so we did the first one, which says number 8, by substitution, but we can also practice elimination. So if I erase all of this and I do the problem using elimination, I can multiply the bottom row by negative 3 or positive 3. I'm going to multiply by positive 3. So you can decide, do I want to multiply by negative 3, always by that number that's negative, or positive? Like if this said 3, you can multiply the bottom by positive 3 or negative 3. It's just going to impact if you're going to add the columns or subtract the columns. It's not going to change your answer though. You'll get the same answer. So I'm going to multiply the bottom by negative 3. So I have on top negative 3x plus 7y equals negative 7. On the bottom then, 3 times x is 3x, 3 times y is 3y, 3 times 9 is 27. Now I've set it up so that I can add all of the columns. So negative 3 and 3 cancel. 7 plus 3y is 10y, and 27 and negative 7 is 20. You can divide by 10, so y would equal 2. And then you could go back to either equation, plug in 2 for y, and solve for x. So I'm going to go to the bottom one. X plus substitute 2 for y is equal to 9. Subtract 2 from both sides, so we have x is 7. So these lines cross at 7, comma 2. So we did this in the beginning using substitution, and now we're practicing elimination. Then last thing I just want to point out, these last few problems all had one solution, but just remember as you're going through problems, if for example your variables cancel, like by adding these cancel and you get 6 equals 2. If the variables cancel, not true statement, it's no solution, and that's because if you graphed you would have parallel lines, and if you were solving, and you added your columns, these cancel. Well, let me throw a 2y and a negative 2y and 2 and negative 2. So if we add these, and if everything cancels, then you have many solutions. And that's because you have coinciding lines, meaning they happen 2 times. Okay, so we practice substitution and elimination.